This is Collection of Mana on the Nintendo Switch. This is something I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something a little bit different here because I have my USB dongle, which can capture my audio with music. Unfortunately, the music cannot be turned down. There's no audio slider that lets me adjust the volume of this, so I will turn off the game audio now and then if I have to make some comment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the music play out. I'm going to let the music play for this early part, and then I'll interject with some commentary. This is an HD version of a revisitation stream, because I made several videos on the SNES Classic version of this game, but they're kind of ugly. They're recorded onto a DVD recorder with some HDMI to composite video converter, so it wasn't great. But it sets the standard. It was also when my microphone started going bad, so we'll play some Secret of Mana in just a second. This cartridge includes the original Game Boy game, the sequel to the Game Boy game, which we know here in the United States as Secret of Mana, which came out in the SNES, and Trials of Mana, which was the sequel to the Secret of Mana, which never came out in the United States until this game was released. At least it wasn't released in English. Let me just put it that way. It's probably fair to say. You know how to play Secret of Mana, don't you? It's not terribly hard to figure out, if we're being honest. But again, the whole idea is to play this game as it appears on the Switch. We'll set things up and then do a longer video later where I see how the game performs. I'm mainly interested in the audio quality because this is a game where the audio it's one of the better Super NES soundtracks. Absolutely, I think it's a top 20 soundtrack on the Super NES from my experience. I'm curious how good the audio quality is. I want to say the Super NES Classic did a very good job of translating the audio because I have video audio cassette recordings of the original Super NES game. So they're about as good as you could expect if you're curious how well the original hardware sounds. But I'm kind of curious how the emulation works here. And can I go back to the game I was playing earlier? I was playing the UK version of this game, the European version of this game. I'll let you hear the music. Why not? And as I said, I'll let you listen to the music until I have to interject something in gameplay related. Oh, they screwed it up. Perhaps worth noting, if you play the original Super NES version, the music plays for a few more seconds, like maybe 10 more seconds, and then it cuts off. So I'm curious what happened there. Maybe was it a 50 hertz playback thing? Because remember, European games tended to run at 50 frames a second. I wonder if that's how it got cut off. We'll worry about that later. So, Return to the game. Weird. But I'm always sort of curious about other versions of the game. I'll play the Japanese version a bit later, kind of see where the music gets cut off, because now I'm very curious. The audio quality seems pretty close, so they did a pretty good job with that. I did a quick game save. Okay, we're not going to play through this again. So I'll go back to my quick load. Yeah, this one. So you can make several quick saves as you play through the game. I just fell down the waterfall. The unskippable prologue has been completed, so we'll skip ahead to that part. Yes. Controller configuration, just to give you some idea. I'm playing this on a regular 8-bit DOE controller. It's a wired controller, in case you're wondering. The manual. You know how to play this game, don't you? This isn't much of a manual, but we're not going to have to worry about most of this for a while. Save data specific to the version we choose. You cannot continue your saved game in a different language. So again, if you play, in my case, I'm playing the European English version. So fair warning there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say that this game sold like 1 million copies worldwide, and I believe it sold like 250,000 copies here in the United States, which in 1992 was a huge deal. 1993. 94, excuse me. Japanese RPGs did not sell very well on the Super NES. They sold well enough, but I mean in Japan they were selling like, millions of copies of Dragon Quest. This game, Dragon Warrior never sold nearly as many copies here in the States. Sorry, I'll go back to the game. I'm rambling. I don't have a sword. And as I said, I can't turn down the music, so I'll just let it play out. And then I'll interject something a bit later, but not now. Game's got a pretty good pace, now I think about it. Your character really does book. We can go back in here if we need to, but there's no reason to come back here. Yes, my name is T'Challa. From Wakanda, of course. Crap. Okay, I guess I can't cut through it with that. I wonder if this weird sword in the middle of the water can be used to cut through the grass. It's not like I can pull it or anything. Just a second, the giant phallus is talking to me. Where's the... How do I even get in here? Oh, that's right, I have to go back the way I came, sorry. I haven't played this game in 5 years, give me a break. So can I go around? Oh, I can run with the A button. Okay, I can run with the A button. But I can't move, I can only run in one direction. I can only sprint. I can't change directions while I'm running. That cancels the run. Maybe I should have called this a research stream. Guess how do I get in the water? We'll have to go that way, sorry. I'm an idiot. Maybe I should have played the game first before I got to this point. I'm trying to remove it. You didn't tell me which button to press. Oh, here we go. I guess I thought that my character was silent. Like because remember, this character looks kind of like Chrono from Chrono Trigger, doesn't he? For some reason, I don't remember my character ever having any dialogue. It's a singing sword, like in Earthworm Jim, the cartoon show, in case you're wondering. You know, it would sing "If I Had a Hammer" very poorly. Now we're talking. Yes, I have to get back to Wakanda. second. Mike. Okay. In this part, I'm going to just pay attention to the bottom of the screen. See the bottom of the screen where it says 50-50? Yes, we chose that. Continue the game. We're fine. Alright. So you press the B button to swing the sword, and you see the percentage right there? That's a cooldown period. That becomes more important later because when your sword is at full strength, it does more damage. You can swing your sword, you can mash on the attack button and just do this. But if you want full power for your weapon, you gotta let it charge to 100. At least. Again, that's the basic idea. Once we get into the actual combat, you'll see there's a very long wind-up on the enemy's attacks. It's a very antiquated real-time combat system. So you see how I mash on the attack button? You'll see how it does less damage when I mash on the attack button like that. But when I get full strength, I do way more damage. But when you attack the enemy, you're basically queuing up damage. Like that. So the idea is if you attack the enemy quickly, like twice back to back, the enemy will recover, and then the damage will register. So apparently every time you attack the enemy and make contact, it queues up damage. Which is weird. That's why there's a long delay between the damage numbers that appear. So if you time it right, you can mash on the attack button multiple times, see? That's why there's such a long delay in those numbers appearing. Because as soon as you make contact, it takes like 3 or 4 seconds. It takes like 2 or 3 seconds before the next number appears. So that's the big problem with this game. A lot of this part of the game will not hold up. Because a lot of people, when they play this, are going to say, why the crap is there such a massive delay between swinging your sword and the enemy taking damage? It's still a real-time action game because of this weird damage queuing system they're doing here. It doesn't feel fluid at all. So if you're used to games like Zelda or even Diablo, you will not dig this combat system. It's just a massive delay between swinging your sword and the enemy registering damage. Like it might jump backward like that. Like you can stun lock most enemies in this game, but the fact that numbers don't appear while they're stun locked for several seconds is gonna throw a lot of people off. Like it is a game breaking mechanic for a lot of people, and I completely understand that. But when this game came out, it was a big deal because it had 3-player couch co-op. If you had a 4-player adapter there was a 5-player adapter for the Super NES. If you had that, you had that couch co-op thing going on. It's not that difficult a game. I don't remember slowdown being a massive problem. So the game had that going for it. But if you wanted to play with just one player, the other two characters in your party would be controlled by the AI, and it was actually pretty decent. So the game was refined enough to hold up, but I will admit that this combat does not hold up, really. It's sort of interesting to see how well it works. The sword reached level 1. The way it works is that as you use weapons, it's an item farming system. As you use weapons, you gain experience in using those weapons. So I press the Y button to bring up the Saturn ring here. And I think you can press up to switch to different items in your inventory. So you press up to switch levels, basically. So you press up again to switch to the healing items. Press up again for the menu. Then you press up again to cycle back to the beginning of the Saturn ring. This was considered sort of something of a weird system in the late 1990s because having an interface like this was considered weird. And yet, I mean, I understand the problem of a Saturn ring like this because people start to say, why do you have to cycle all the way back around to get to the other part of the ring? But ideally, there would be like a square, like a grid of 9 squares. But again, it just depends on. It's an interface thing. You don't have to worry too much about it. Okay, so we press the B button, so we can switch the buttons here if you want, which I didn't know was a thing in this game. Maybe it's a thing of the European version, but that's what we're doing here. Press Y for your characters menu. You press the X button for your allies menu. So when we get some allies, that'll be more important. I should probably, well, I'm going to stop talking so you can hear the music. I just wanted to set the table a little bit. Press select to exit. Let's see what our other options are. Action grid. Again, this is for setting the AI aggressiveness of your allies, I want to say. We're not going to worry about that. So again, you're adjusting the aggressiveness of your allies. They can either approach the enemy and attack, or approach the enemy and guard, or stay away from the enemy. You know, that whole thing. I can't rewind. We're fine. And let me check one other thing. At least the game remembers where your cursor was in this menu, so that's cool. Weapon magic level. Press the B button. My rusty sword is level 1. Press attack button to start. Choose a weapon with the control pad. Okay. Press attack to see data. Energy orb. Okay. Let's see how much experience I get. Why do I not get experience? Do I not gain more experience? Do I get an energy orb? We're going to find out later. You can hold down the attack button, right? Yeah, there it is. If you hold down the B button, the sword will go to 100, and then that meter will charge. So you see where it says 1/1? You can unleash a level 1 super attack, which does more damage than usual. Hold down the attack button. You'll swing. The cooldown will end, and as you hold the button down, it will charge. So it takes several seconds to get to full level, and you move more slowly when you're holding down the button. But it's something you might want to do. Like, you might want to hold a charged attack like this in normal combat, because you might want to unleash it later. Your character will also automatically evade certain attacks. I think it's like a dice roll or something. A couple of dumb hits there. Okay, so I can't... The enemies will interrupt your charge, so keep that in mind. Come get me. Whoops, I pressed the wrong button. Oh, the enemies do respawn, so if you want to level up, you can. Ah, you got me. Okay, I thought he interrupted my charge. He just paused my charge. Okay, so I killed 2 enemies with that. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I didn't gain any experience by doing that. Okay, so there's no reason for me to keep attacking enemies, because I won't gain any more experience with this weapon yet. Later I can, but right now my sword is already leveled up to level 1, which is fine. Whoop! The enemy dropped a thing. Just a second. Press the B button. Yep. Shake it up. Piece of candy. No magic. Yeah. What status do I got? Well, we do gain experience by defeating enemies. It just doesn't... What happens is you gain weapon experience in this game every time you use a weapon to attack an enemy, or I believe kill it. Every time you use a weapon to kill an enemy, you get weapon experience points up to the cap, which I believe is level 8 for every weapon in this game. And you get individual experience points by defeating enemies normally. So I need to double check and see how much experience I'm getting by defeating these enemies. I think I've defeated, 13 enemies possibly. That would not be out of the question. And what's the other bit of business? Let me check my menu. Well, there's no armor to equip, I want to say. Got overalls. And my Oshkosh Bagosh. Oh yeah, you can adjust the window if you have certain color sensitivities, which I always love. Super NES games are very good about allowing this. And they kind of fake transparency by including, like, by making like the little cross-hatched border behind the text a different color. So that's a nice touch. But again, I think it's a 16-bit trick, because there's no parallax scrolling in this game. But there are some transparency effects that you can see, like in the water. The water's a different color than it would be otherwise because they fake a transparency effect using some kind of weird color math. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, if you combine two colors, when you combine two colors, they create a third color. Color math, I suppose. I forget the science behind that, but it makes sense to people who know the trick. Okay, so we have 13 experience points. So let's see how we do. We'll kill a few more enemies, and what I will do is I will allow the music to play, so you'll be able to hear the music by itself for about 2 or 3 minutes. So we should have 15. Yep. Not off limits anymore. There it is. The music cuts out because the sound effects steal a sound channel. Never was a fan of that. They only had 8 sound channels, folks. I don't know what to tell you. Great music. They only had so many sound channels to work with. You need sound effects, right? Kill 26 more enemies, huh? Interrupted me. Missed. I didn't do it. They ain't talking about me. Always love this dude. Again, very good soundtrack. And that song that plays outside is still one of the best songs in the history of the Super NES. Don't want to stay, but I can save my game. I want to go home. I don't want to stay. Wait, did I get credit for that? Well, I mean, if I need to heal, I can do that. There's always that. Yeah, the game's already saved. We're fine. Okay, so we're good. So yeah, music's very good in this game, and I think there might be like, again, I still think it's a top 20 Super NES soundtrack. If I had to re-rank them, it might be a top 15 in terms of how many like actual good songs there are. So I will always respect this soundtrack. It's mainly like it's a good combination of like good clean samples and very good melodies. So it's that combination of what you want: good instrumentation, good sample selection on the instruments, very strong melodies. It works. Worked extremely well, I think. It's one of those Super Nintendo does what Genesis don't situations where Sakamoto arguably did way better music on the Genesis, but I think if he really practiced with this sound hardware, he could have made some amazing soundtracks. Maybe Tactics Ogre's okay. I need to pay more attention to it. I guess he was he pale and about to faint? It was one thing T'Challa is not. It's pale. Yeah, didn't that Legend of Mana remake come out recently on the PS4 and the Switch? I want to say. We're gonna hear a pretty good boss theme in just a second. Autosave. That wasn't cool. Sorry, didn't know how to break it. Am I supposed to die here? That worked. See, I knew it. That was helpful. Yeah, no reason to charge that. Richter, give me your power. Something like that. Ow! Ow! Can't lose this fight. Yeah, I couldn't lose that fight. So there was no reason for me to charge up my attack, just use my regular 100% attack, and I do way more damage per second than by waiting for it to charge up and taking a bunch of dumb hits and moving slowly. So there you go. You know you won when the monster explodes. So it looks like I'm going to be able to increase my sword's experience to level 2. It means I can do level 2 attacks now, I believe, instead of just level 1 charge attacks. Maybe better. Hey! The triumphant music stopped. Yeah, well, that's fine. How much experience did I get for that, by the way? So I got a weapon orb, it didn't seem to do... I don't think it did anything. Yeah, I got a weapon orb, that didn't do anything. That's unfortunate. We'll worry about it later. So we'll get kicked out of the village shortly, and then you get to hear the somber music. It'll be cool. It'll be awesome. Yeah, they're gonna kick me out of the village, just like in Princess Mononoke. Yeah, sure, blame the new guy. Yeah, blame the guy who just saved your lives, ungrateful bums. Give me that loot. Amazing. Deuces. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's the water nymph near the Secret of Mana, right? She's the Secret of Mana, right? Yeah, screw all y'all. We'll go out the southeast edge. That'll be our cue to bail. We can also do a ground zero set. Well, we can't. We'll get around to that. What if I said no? Yeah, I guess it won't let me back in. There's nothing much over there. There's a few enemies that just respawn. Nothing much over there. So I'm going to do a quick save over here. That's the ground zero save. And we have that. So here's your cliffhanger, kids. Oh well. I think I already got my treasure. Let me do a quick check on something before we end the video. And I guess I can finish up this video by testing the Japanese version to see how long the music lasts during the opening cutscene. During the opening intro. Wrong button. Yeah, I have 2 energy orbs. I should be able to reach level 2 now. Give me a second. No? What am I missing? Not particularly helpful. So what's the deal with the second energy orb I got? Oh well. I'm not gonna waste my time trying to level up here. So we'll just do some exploration later, see if we can get to the next village. This is Dwarf Village. We have several options. We can go to the capsule, we can go to the castle and visit the princess, or we can go to the dwarf village. We can end the game here. I love the music. Actually, let me go to the Japanese version. Switch game version. So we'll end the video by going to the Japanese version and seeing how it sounds. Wait, we can't see the Japanese version? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go to the English version, you'll get a chance to hear how long the music lasts. Because you'll see that it cuts off at a different point. At least it did in the cartridge version. Yeah. That's where it cuts off. Okay, so that brings up a whole bunch of other questions. If I go back to the title menu. So yeah, that's where the music is supposed to cut off. At least when I was a kid, that's where I knew the music cut off, because that's where I heard it. When I played the song on my audio cassette tape, that's where it got cut off. When I recorded it from the cartridge. But the trick is apparently to play this song from the music player, and you'll get a chance to hear the complete ending. But it only lasts for a couple of extra seconds. I just think it's weird that the European version cut off the song earlier. Cut up the song a few seconds earlier than that for some reason. Weird. We'll come back and play more Secret of Mana. This is recorded with my Skull Candy earbuds plugged into an audio splitter, which is plugged into my J5 Create USB dongle via USB-C connection into my quad-core Windows 10 laptop. Windows 10 camera app was used to record this footage at 60 frames a second, which might be overkill for this game. But there you go. Video number 1 is Secret of Mana on the Collection of Mana cartridge. Play more of this later.